It turns out, as you will see as I report on this news story, that one of the most attractive attributes of gold can work against you in a big way. And we've seen that happen throughout history. This time, it's a devastating effect. I'll talk about it as we explore. Historic gold. You know, it's pretty amazing to find an old gold coin, especially from a shipwreck that's been down in the salt water for all these years. And you look, and there it is, shining brightly in the water. It is not deteriorated at all. It does not react to the environment. That's one of the amazing things about gold. But there's another thing about gold that is amazing too, and that can work against you. And that's what we're going to be talking about here. And this story that was shared with me by Tony Erickson from The Independent. And it is about a 3,000-year-old gold bracelet. Now, there's a reason why I'm showing you these gold coins here. These are all modern gold coins. But nonetheless, they are limited mintage. But they're all made of gold. In fact, pretty much the same type of gold. In other words, very pure gold. In all of these, either 3 nines fine or 4 nines fine. And that is the amazing thing about gold, is that it can be purified to such a degree and be cast and struck into different types that, like such what you see here. It's pretty amazing. But a 3,000-year-old gold bracelet, which was reported missing from an Egyptian museum just this month, was stolen and was melted down. That's right. The Interior Ministry has confirmed this for Egypt. The Antiques and Tourism Ministry had initially announced the loss of the artifact, which belonged to King Amenemope of the Third Intermediate Period, who ruled Egypt around 1000 BC. That's amazing. Adorned with spherical lapis lazuli beads, the piece vanished from a conservation laboratory safe on the 9th of September. The incident was discovered as staff prepared artifacts for an exhibition in Rome next month. The disappearance, reported by Egyptian newspaper Al-Misri Al-Yaham, came to light when dozens of items were being readied for shipment. The Cairo Institution, the Middle East's oldest archaeological museum, holds over 170,000 artifacts, including Ananopolis' gilded wooden funerary mask. And so, but it just goes to show you that such are the pieces you see here that have limited mintages of 400 and 200 and 200 and others, 188 for that one, 100 for this one. This is my rarest gold coin ever. Now this one is a much higher mintage, but it is actually selling for quite a premium, as opposed to this coin, which is just a regular maple leaf. But essentially, any of these coins can be melted down into bars and only be worth their weight in gold. That's really the beauty of gold, is it can be reconstituted or rehypothecated, as what Germany feared would happen to the gold that was stored in the United States. That was a big controversy years ago, where gold bars were remelted down and then recast into new bars. But I tell you what, my friends at Summit Metals, well, they have a way you can store your bars. And with the price of gold rising so high, you can see why some of this is happening and why it may be tempted by thieves. They don't care about the historic value. This is why it's so horrific, because history is gone. But with this, well, you can get these 1 gram gold bars from Summit Metals. And I've got some more on the way. I'm long overdue to fill this thing up. I'm not going to get there quite yet, but I'm going to get closer to it. But nonetheless, you can get these over at summitmetals.com. And this is the something about gold, is it's got this appeal that's amazing. So when you see rare pieces and pieces of high value, and literally with enough heat, all that numismatic value and historic value can disappear in an instant. And that is the one thing about gold that is devastating. In this case, it's extremely devastating. The loss occurred just 6 weeks before the Grand Egyptian Museum opens in nearby Giza, set to display the world-renowned treasures of King Tut's tomb. This is piece is so old and of such historic significance. I think this is the most devastating gold story of 2025, in my view. We've heard about what happened with the 2007 $1 million Canadian gold coin that was melted down. We know about that story. I reported on it. But the thing is there's others of those. I think there's 4 or 5 more in existence. So it wasn't unique, whereas this is unique. And this is very old gold, even before gold was used as money. And that tells you something for sure. Now, following the theft, the story continues from The Independent. A special committee was set up to review artifacts in the laboratory, and images of the missing bracelet were circulated to antiquities units at Egypt's airports, seaports, and land border crossings, fearing it would be smuggled abroad. And you know what? That is obviously something they would hope would happen. But indeed, that's not what happened. They got melted down. The Interior Ministry tracked down the theft to a museum restoration specialist who took the artifact and sold it to a silver trader. Crazy. In other words, a specialist at the museum itself, of restoration specialist, knew the historic value, should have appreciated it, but what did he do? He sold it to a silver trader, who then passed it on to a workshop owner in Cairo's historic jewelry district. The workshop owner then sold it to a gold smelter. And you know what happens? You know what gold smelters do, don't you? They recast it into other items. So likely that gold, being what it is, probably of a high enough purity they could recognize it, and very well could be in a modern gold piece, a modern piece of jewelry that could be sold at market for much less, obviously. The ministry said the suspects were arrested and proceeds from the sale, valued at about $4,000, were seized. So the other stuff was taken, but that's gone. Who knows what that's worth? The incident comes weeks before the planned November opening of the Grand Egyptian Museum near the Giza Pyramids, a showcase of the country's ancient heritage that is a key draw for tourism, a vital source of foreign currency in Egypt. Yes, indeed. And I tell you what, this is something, and I think that this story is reflective of what we're seeing more and more of finds of ancient coins and silver and gold coins that are out there. There's so many of those stories now, I can't keep up with them all, and honestly, they don't do as well. But this story is part of my precious metals theft playlist, and precious metal crimes, and this will go in that playlist. And these stories, sometimes some of these videos don't do as well as others, but I like to report on different aspects of the precious metals market, and I appreciate folks like Tony Erickson for sending this information to me to share it with you, because I tell you what, it just goes to show you that anything could happen. Fire could melt all these down, and all the numismatic value would just disappear like that. But the one good thing is the gold can be recovered. So there is something about that it could be recovered as gold, and gold's price has gone up so high that we're going to see probably more stories like this, where people are going to find easy pickings, and even from museums, and stuff's going to be melted down because the gold price has gone up so much. They didn't say what the piece was worth, likely priceless. I can't imagine something else of such good quality could be found and preserved for so long of a time that they could put a price on it. Boy, what a heartbreaking story this is. Tragic in the utmost situation. Horrific that it was done as a crime and it be taken away. But this is something else. And you see things like that, and then you hear about other discoveries you can make for it. It means security has got to be the utmost factor. And this is why I always tell folks, hey, keep your gold secret. Keep it safe. And keep it distributed in such a way that it cannot be easily found. As I've talked about many times, and protect yourself. If you do store gold at your location, make sure that it is safeguarded. As for me, I don't like to put a target on my back, so I keep it stored elsewhere, other places, thanks to some of the connections I have, well established long after an unfortunate incident that occurred with me. So I'm extra safe and careful. But nonetheless, protect yourself in many ways, with surveillance, with a safe, with keeping it in a very obscure location, something not easily found. And then utmost importance as well, when there's a target, if somebody were to try to come into your home, make sure you are packed with weaponry and with loaded guns everywhere so that you can protect yourself. Be safe with those guns, obviously, but you should have the utmost protection for you and your family. But nonetheless, gold is a metal. That one attribute, the fact that it could be reconstituted into different forms, no matter how old the gold is, it does not change. It does not corrode. It does not go away. So that bracelet, probably being found out that it was where it is and how in some different form now in some other piece of jewelry. It's kind of crazy. But now they know where it is and what's happened to it. And it's a shame. Let me know what your thoughts are on this story. I hope you found this video informative, insightful, and educational. If you enjoy stories like this, where I cover not only the topics of the market with precious metals, but also stories like this about precious metal crimes and other stories, I hope you will consider subscribing to the channel. So with that being said, I'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to each and every one of you for taking the time to watch, and to encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.